Hello and good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us on what is, at least in Chicago, a nice sunny Saturday afternoon. So the perfect day to talk about canned wines. My name is Alicia Baird. I'm wine educator at Binny's. I'm joined by Barb, our wine events manager.
Hey guys, thanks for coming.
And Gabriel, one of our wine managers at our Lincoln Park location.
Hey everybody, how are you?
Thank you both for coming on. So canned wines, a relatively new kind of packaging product here in the wine sector. And in the past, consumers have been really skeptical about kind of the association of the quality of packaging to the product within. They've treated kind of irregular shaped bottles or different sizes or different colors with skepticism about what is actually in that bottle. This is all changing thanks to kind of the millennials and Generation Z who are approaching this very differently. So we have seen this canned wine industry just really boom in the last kind of 10 years, but especially in the last kind of 3 or 4. It is now worth about 80 million in sales a year. And to give you some kind of context, it was about 6 million 4 years ago. So crazy numbers and lots of interest. So we thought we would taste some of the cans on our shelves here at Binny's. We're going to talk about our thoughts. We're going to talk about what we love, what we don't. And hopefully you have a can at home right now. It can be a can of wine, can of seltzer, canned cocktail. And if you don't have any of those, a can of beer works just fine too. So we'll do a little countdown and enjoy the opening of the can together. Ready? And oh, Gabe's double fisting there. I love it.
Gabriel, drink responsibly.
Naturally.
All right, here we are in 3, 2, 1.
Ooh.
Oh boy.
Cheers, guys.
I was getting spritzy there.
So
yeah.
We're gonna start with bubbly Barb. I think she has 2 sparkling wines to share with us. So Barb, why don't you tell us what cans you picked out?
The Duchess of Bubbles.
I like alliteration, so a lot of B words come to mind. And before I get into what I'm drinking, sorry, my green screen is not cooperating today, but
just push it closer.
Well, it's just my technical advisor. I don't know. I'm lucky I'm not wearing a green shirt. It all happened.
You have IT in the building?
Just study. Shout out, he's watching right now. Hey, before I get going in the wine, I want to make sure folks that are watching, feel free to comment, thumbs up us, give us hearts emojis, cheers emojis. Right now, I don't know how many of you are tuned in, except for my spouse. So let us know you're here, where you're talking to us from. And if you're sharing a can of wine or wine cocktail, let us know what you're drinking too. We want to have kind of a party here today. So participation is encouraged.
Yes.
It's the freaking weekend.
Hi to Greg, hi to Roxy. Thanks for checking in. Hey, Allison. So I'll be moderating your comments and questions throughout. If we get some good Binny's or wine cocktail questions, we're going to save those to the end. I started today with Boloncini. Hope you can see that. Yeah.
Yep.
You can see what a cute package this is. And I think, Alicia, you're going to get to that a little later. This is a sparkling rosé from Italy. Don't know tons about it or about its production, but I've had this one before, but you're still going to get my first take for the day.
It hits different at just afternoon, yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, this one is for the Prosecco drinker. It's off dry. It's certainly lovely. It's really quaffable. Very fruity. This one is for the beach. Again, like I said, Prosecco drinkers are going to like this because it's delicate and playful. This is for my college grad nieces, maybe, who are used to White Claw and want to graduate to something a tad more sophisticated. And other than that, it's fine. I don't mind it. I take it to the beach.
What kind of fruit does it taste? Is it red fruit? Is it stone?
Yeah, like really bright strawberry, almost kind of like candied cherry. You're talking like Swedish Fish or those sour cherry candies you buy like at the gas station.
Yep.
So is it a like a natural sweetness, or is it just ripe, or is it like glycerin-y?
It's not sugary sweet. It's almost like
Okay.
kind of confection. I'd call it off dry. I wouldn't call this a sweet sparkling wine. It's not like pink Moscato level. It's off dry. It's fine. If you're used to Prosecco, this would definitely be for you. It comes in a cute little 4-pack, or I think we do also offer it in single cans. Can you see the 4-pack? Yeah.
Yep.
So
It's shiny.
that's the shiny and pink. So cute.
Ooh.
That's the first wine for me today. I give that 1 thumbs up. I don't know what our rating system is today. I'll give it 1.
I think that
Should we
works.
do it out of a 6-pack? Like 5 out of
Ooh.
6 cans?
Yeah. All right. I'm going to give that one 3 out of 6 cans.
Okay.
It's a 3-can job. The other wine I have today.
You can't call it that.
The other can I have today, I don't think you guys can see. I'll try to fix this for later to give them a little more face time. I have rosé water. Can you guys see it at all?
No.
Poop.
No. Is that like coconut water?
It's a little like coconut water. Rosé water is new this season, and unfortunately with the timing and the quarantine, we didn't get the exciting launch off that we wanted to share with them. But this is still rosé wine from the Loire Valley in France. So we're pretty sophisticated there. And then it's blended with really fancy water from Austria. So again, I have tasted this one before. I'm really sorry about the visual. This is actually really, really tasty, you guys. And if you pour it out of this can and put it in a glass and handed it to me, I would have no idea this was like a canned wine cocktail. I would think this was a rosé spritzer that you made for me fresh with French rosé and seltzer water. So that was the intention with this product. The quality seems pretty high. This is 4.9 ABV, so it's light. Again, really refreshing, dry, and I like it a lot. I would drink this right now. I'm gonna go to my backyard or on the beach in Mexico, on the train, on the way downtown.
So just to clarify for those watching, it's a still rosé, but it's blended or, kind of mixed with a little bit of sparkling water. Is that right? So you get that kind of really refreshing carbonation. Yeah. So perfect for, outside by the pool, kind of cool you down, but still some nice kind of flavors and added depth from the rosé wine.
Yeah, I think it's quite tasty. Once again, in my experience with especially rosés and bubbles out of a can, this one is kind of better quality, more sophisticated. It seems dry and refreshing. This is a little bit better than the average bubble in a can.
What did you say the alcohol was again?
4.9. So it's low as wine goes, but as a spritzer, it's probably about average, right?
That's probably on par with a lot of like your White Claws and like session style beers.
Totally. Yeah, I think it's right. Yeah, with the hard seltzers and any other canned cocktail. So cheers to rosé water. Nicely done. If I can figure out how to make it a little more visible for you.
Well, we're going to put all these on the screen at the end of the video.
We will.
Not to worry. You get all the information and product pictures. So
somebody named Jeff
transparency might be
commented,
ideal if you're walking around the neighborhood and don't want your neighbors to see what's going on there. So that invisible can. I
mean, I'm not going to say that I do that already while walking my dogs. But whatever floats your boat. Somebody named Jeff commented on Facebook that he can see the can quite clearly when I'm drinking, so I should keep drinking, is what he said.
Chug.
None of us condones chugging. Again, we're all for responsible alcohol consumption, but you're all in the comfort of your own home these days, so you do you.
Sometimes you're in a rush.
The only other thing I want to mention before I forget is, this craze of canned wines has taken off, and a lot of brands that are already popular are also jumping into the pool. And that includes this one. Can you see? No. All right. Well, this is Kim Crawford Sauvignon Blanc. They're selling that in cans now. It's a 2-pack. of 250 milliliter cans. So that's out there. You can pick that up too. Once again, we're going to show all these products at the end.
Yeah.
Kim Crawford,
thank
take
you.
my money.
Some very fun kind of sparkling options out there for you. And the other great thing, especially with sparkling, is that sometimes it is difficult, especially if you're on your own right now, you know, sheltering in place, to finish an entire bottle of sparkling wine. And it is, you know, challenging to keep, you know, maybe it has another day to it if you close it correctly, but the cans are great because they're single serve. So you're not going to lose that kind of effervescence and fun carbonation as much. So a nice alternative there.
Sorry, just going back to rosé water to give it my rating for the day. I would call this on the canned wine curve. I'd call this 5 out of 6 cans.
Nice.
Yeah,
All right.
5 cans. Way to go, rosé water. Nice job.
So
Nice.
rosé water is the one to beat so far.
Mm-hmm.
And so in that same spirit, I have here rosé all day.
All day.
All right. A nice, thin, very kind of feminine can here. It's slightly boozier than Barb's. This is 12.5%.
Howza.
This is made from fruit sourced in the south of France. And at least on the website, it says it's all Grenache. So if you tend to like Provence style rosés, maybe you will like this. We'll see. That's very nice. So dry. I don't get any residual sugar there. Tons of kind of dark cherry, really ripe strawberry, cranberry notes to it as well. There's a little bit of that kind of minerality sometimes you find with rosé, not a ton. It's definitely more kind of fruit driven, but it's lovely. It's quite lean and crisp. The acid's really refreshing. But yeah, red fruit kind of dominant, medium finish, and definitely a light body. This is your pool wine. I would definitely go with. It's just really quaffable, very easy drinking. You obviously don't want to have too many of them at 12.5%, but I think they've done a nice job. So this is rosé all day. And yeah, I would give it a 4 out of 6 on that. So very nice. And you'll see just, you know, whether it's this packaging here, this is what I'm gonna have next, my Underwood Pinot Gris. People are getting creative, and you'll see Gabe's in the photo there. They're getting very creative with the packaging. Yeah. And we're now embracing really kind of vibrant colors and different fonts and brand images and so forth that we like, but also that winemakers need to differentiate their product. There is so much out there now. So they're starting to get really fun and creative. So that's always a nice thing. Next up, a pretty famous brand here, Underwood. It's from Union Wine Company in Oregon. And they were also some of the first to embrace some of this kind of can technology in terms of how this kind of preserves and protects wine from both the aluminum in the can and kind of to extend shelf life. So they've been doing great work over there in Oregon. They have a wide range. They have Pinot Noir, they have Rosé, they have Sparkling Rosé. I have the Pinot Gris here. And I actually opened this prior to coming on our call, and I really like it.
How long prior to the call did you open it, Alicia?
Just a few minutes. I made sure it was after 12 o'clock. So
it wasn't like with your Fruit Loops this morning or anything.
Yeah, right.
But to make sure it wasn't flawed in the can.
Yeah, we have to do a test.
This is fantastic. Tons of kind of green apple, red apple, kind of underripe stone fruit like white peach. Little bit of kind of herbal, kind of lemongrassy note to it. That's I think this is fantastic. Medium body, nice finish, but it's a little bit more kind of round and has a bigger mouthfeel than the rosé, which is expected. It is Pinot Gris. This is wonderful. I am going to put this at 5.5.
Wow.
Ooh.
We have a leader.
Yeah, big fan.
I think that this doesn't have to be a competition, okay? You have 3 pretty competitive people here, though. I think the wines you have are like kind of in a different category. So we're throwing these all into canned wine cocktails, but to judge, you know, Underwood Pinot Gris in the same tier as this like cute pink sparkling jobby, maybe we should grade more on a curve. I'm just saying that because I don't want you to win.
Well, not surprising there, but also I will say you're also going to pay more for this. So Gabe, I'm right in saying the wine that is in this can is the same that goes into their bottle.
It should be, yeah, the same that you're getting out of the bottle to what they've advertised, yeah.
Yeah, so we are getting a nice kind of quality product here that they're selling in bottle and in cans. Cans really for convenience. Cans also, in terms of shipping wine around the world, it's about 40% fewer CO2 emissions by doing cans because they're so much lighter than glass bottles. Obviously, they're recyclable. So all of these things people are very interested in now, and rightfully so. This is also more expensive though. So I believe we're going to recap at the end, but I think it's $5.99 per can.
So but with that, it's also a bigger can. You're getting 375 milliliters, which is technically a half bottle.
It's a half
and
bottle
pricing wise, it lines up with just a regular bottle price at almost exactly half.
Very good point. Very good point. So yeah, $5.99, but half a bottle. And then you compare that to the Rosé All Day, which comes in a 4-pack, perhaps singly as well, but this is only 250 milliliters. So, you know, just different sizes. So pay attention to that. But thumbs up for Underwood Pinot Gris.
Nice.
Love it.
Yeah. And as the sizes go, I like the 250 ml size for wine in a can, you know, just because it doesn't get warm as fast, but especially now, you know, we're all pretty much quarantined and drinking alone, which I don't have a problem doing, but we're talking a lot more about single serve and conservation and not wasting. So these are basically a little bit more than 1 glass. So I like the 250 ml. And then if you do find the ones that are 375 milliliter, or essentially that's about 12 ounces, I think, right? Probably. I don't.
Roughly.
Yeah, 12 ounces.
More.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those should fit in like your normal koozies. So if you're concerned about it getting warm over time, you're outdoors, you just throw it in a koozie. And to Gabriel's earlier point, once again, nobody at the soccer game is going to know what you're drinking.
In the great state of Chicago, no one's worried either.
Yeah,
what I like about that half bottle is that, I mean, arguably between two people, if you're just doing like takeout, just need a glass of wine and not go crazy, you and you know, your girlfriend or boyfriend, whoever, your husband, you guys can share that can. I mean, it's the same as a half bottle. So I think there's a big benefit to that.
Yeah, well, I will say though, speak to yourself. I'm not going to share this can.
Keep it to yourself.
Gabriel, what did you pick out? Because yours are a little bit different here.
Yeah,
I'm on a huge curve over here. There's probably one brand. So there's one brand I'm sure everyone's familiar with, and that's Real Sangria. Spanish Sangria that has really dominated the category for the past 2 decades or so on our shelves. You see it in a variety of sizes from 750 milliliters to the 3-liter box. And yeah, I think this has been a big pioneer. And just recently, I think within the last year or two, they have thrown this into a can. It's sourced from Garnacha and Tempranillo, being found in places like Rioja and La Mancha, several other regions. So the source to this is actually quite reputable, I'm sure. And then the other one, this is brand new to us. This is made in conjunction with Mancino Vermouth out of Italy, canned in Seattle. It's called Sprezza, and I just spilled a little there. Did you say
Sprezza?
Sprezza.
See.
Love it.
Yeah.
So this is white vermouth. They also offer a red vermouth option, blended with some mineral water, some orange bitters, and a little bit of carbonation to kind of ramp up the fizz there. So I was super excited about these because I love drinking vermouth, really any shape, way, or form I can. And adding a little bit of tonic or some club soda makes it super refreshing, but also low in alcohol. Well, I tell myself it's diluted. So yeah, we can see what this is all about.
And just to go back a step, when we were talking about product selection for today, and Gabriel asked permission to feature this one, we hesitated for a second, but technically vermouth is a wine-based product. Therefore, it is a wine cocktail. It's a little bit of a stretch, Gabe, little stretch, but we let you nerd out with the vermouth stuff.
A little bit, but I think this is also a category that much like vermouth, it just gets ignored. If you're not mixing with it, I think a lot of folks are forgetting that they can just drink it as it is.
Yep.
So I was really excited to see this, and I enjoy it. You kind of get a little bit of this kind of like cardamom thing. You get a little bit of the, a lot of the nuances you'd expect from vermouth with some fun fizz. It doesn't wash out the flavor. I was kind of worried about seeing added carbonation with added mineral water, that you're just going to lose the flavor of vermouth. But no, it maintains itself nicely. Actually, I think it has a little bit more. I haven't had Mancino's white vermouth just on its own, but I think it carries a little bit more of this flavor profile like Cocchi Americano, which I drink quite regularly. So I'm really happy about this. One thing that I would change if I was just mixing up a little vermouth and soda at home is citrus. And I think that's a big thing, that if you do decide to pour it in a little glass, or even if you just, squeeze a little lime in there, I think that would carry a long, long way. But yeah, not inexpensive, but I think a really fun alternative to what you're getting in the general wine can community there.
I love that. And so obviously vermouth, you can get dry vermouth, sweet vermouth. Just can you tell us a little bit about the residual sugar, if any, in the can?
There's definitely something noticeable up front, kind of lingers towards the back. We're looking at 5.2% alcohol, so that's not incredibly aggressive. But yeah, you do get a touch of residual, but it's again, it's not offensive by any means. And I think if people are saying they don't like a little sweet, especially with something to this context, you're kind of lying to yourself a little bit. If this was just straight like green apple and racy acidity, like if this was a Cidertico in a glass, I might get or Arnase in a glass or in a can, I might get a little turned off, might get a little wowed by that.
Yeah.
We're not looking for sour beer here. We're just looking for something kind of soft and easy. And yeah, same thing, pool, because I don't feel like that glycerin is kind of weighing me down at all. I'm not getting like gut rot off this. And I'm not getting this huge bubble. It's not like beer where you drink a can, all of a sudden you're kind of burpy and bubbly and stuff like that. I think it's a lot cleaner for you too. So poolside, definitely, if you're worried about not getting bloated off of just slugging brewskis, or actually just walking around the, the neighborhood or something like that, because it does have just this neat kind of very fashionable Italian looking can here. No one's going to think twice. Sorry.
It definitely looks like you could be drinking it. I wouldn't recommend this, but it looks like you should be drinking it like on the streets of Italy on a moped,
Yeah.
like vroom, vroom, ciao, and they're like drinking this vermouth cocktail out of a can.
What's the equivalent, the Italian equivalent of the beer helmet? Is it like a fedora with two little canapes for this? That's what I need to get for that. Yeah, I'm incredibly happy with this.
How many cans do you give that one, Gabe?
You get a 4-pack for, I think, something like $16, which I'm not upset about. I think that given the technology, if they're going to do it right, there's going to be a premium to it. It's not necessarily, you're not canning the same things as cola or water or something like that. So it's a little different, but yeah, marginal in alcohol, gluten-free, as it says there. Yeah, I'm really digging it.
Cool. So out of 6 cans, what's your rating?
I think this kind of has to go on a different curve here. I would say, because you can't necessarily stack it up next to a canned wine, I think. And I think for the convenience of it, and given in the category, I'll give this 6 out of 6, a full 6er here.
Wow.
Until I find the next canned vermouth, that's what I'm gonna rely on.
The Michael Jordan of canned wine cocktails. Is that what you're saying?
It's the goat, yeah. If it's like the Jerry West, it hasn't had a ton of competition yet.
All right, Gabriel, what's your second can?
The second one is going back to this sangria over here. It's a category that I think gets poo-pooed. I think it's a category that gets forgotten about. And I think it's a category that can easily go bad. It can get sweet. It can get just over-indicted in, synthetic flavorings. And your best expression is always going to be the one you make at home. Last Tuesday's bottle of red wine with, some fruits and whatever you got around the house, kind of for that party aspect. But, sometimes you do want that, sangria. So we're going to give it a try here.
I agree. I think making your own sangria is the best. I tell people frequently it's like spaghetti sauce. Like, I prefer to make my own, but in a pinch, I'll buy a jarred one. You can always doctor it up, okay? So if you buy a bottled or canned sangria that's you want a little more fizz, you can throw some ginger ale in it, or you can throw more booze in it if you want. So I think packaged sangria is a really good option. But anyway, back to your take on the can.
Yeah, it says on the front here, serve cold. I would call it ice cold. This is your macro beer by comparison in the sangria world over here. 7.5% alcohol. So it's not light. There's definitely a lot of body to it. There's a lot of dark, rich fruit flavors to it. Nothing you can necessarily like dial in, but I don't hate it. And I think going back to a lot of any pre-made sangria, the one thing that's so difficult to retain, especially when you have to fortify and especially when you want some sweetness, is acidity. So anytime I do these, I've bought pre-bottled sangria before in my life. You gotta throw a little something in there, a little lime.
Oh, I thought you were gonna have a mini of gin or something.
Yeah, no, just my Malort topper over here.
Or Chicago sangria tradition.
Yeah, Malort, and it's usually mostly Schlitz anyway, but.
So is honestly, it better with that spritz of citrus?
100%. Now it has the acidity that that was lacking previously, and it balances out that. I will say that it's kind of sweet, but it's not, again, cloying to me. A little bit of citrus in there went a long, long way. So I can't remember the retail on this, but again, it comes in a 4-pack. I think it'll be less expensive than it should be pretty much lined up with what you'd find their other formats to be.
It's $6.99 for a 4-pack. So that's essentially, yeah. I think the 750 milliliter glass bottle aligns pretty closely with that.
The tough part with something like this is that it follows the method of like alcohol, where the bigger the bottle, the cheaper it goes. So you could 1.5 liter for $10, hard to compete with. But again, it's all for scenario. I think if I need to just get home from work and need to take the dog for a walk around the block, but I need a drink first. Yeah, I would throw this in my little koozie here. Yeah.
You're ready to go?
I would grab and go. Yeah, definitely. I probably wouldn't want to do this all day. I think it's just a little bit too much alcohol. It doesn't have the same sessionability that I'd imagine.
Sounds like a lot of sugar too, right? Like you don't want to overdo it.
Yeah, it definitely carries that, and it's kind of still sitting with me. And for some reason, the alcohol is too. I don't know if it's just that hour of the day or first wine of the day, but.
So lots of kind of different environments to consume these cans. We had poolside, we had walking your dog. Barb, what would be your go-to venue for your favorite can?
I hear it a lot, soccer moms. I don't have children, but I could definitely envision that scenario. I live up near the Fox River Marina, so I'd definitely be like chucking these in a insulated bag and walking over there and walking around the river, walking my dogs. Like on the train, if you're having a day downtown when everything gets up and running again, or you're going, I've been hearing for years, like, Ravinia and a lot of music festivals don't allow glass, but they do allow aluminum cans. So I think that is a really good trend. And as the quality continues to rise in this packaging, I think that's how you're going to see it the most, as people like BYOC to like Lollapalooza. And, another note on that, it's worth mentioning, I think, correct me if I'm wrong on the science, but the wine's going to chill down a lot more quickly in an aluminum can than it would in a big glass bottle too. So you can toss it into a cooler or in your freezer for 10 minutes. Just don't forget about it. And yes, that's a mistake I learned the hard way.
Frosé? I mean, that's a thing. Maybe you could accomplish your frosé a little bit quicker too.
It was still delicious. But yeah, I think any of those outdoor, fun, playful scenarios, you're doing bags in the backyard, all summer long. That's what I'd be doing.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we're getting to our time here.
Yeah, we do have some questions. So if we want to do a quick wrap up, but I think we should address a couple of these if you don't mind sticking around.
Yeah.
First of all, a couple comments from Neil and Sandy Wyatt. Hey, you guys, I miss you too. And they're talking about how wine doesn't go to waste in their house and single serve isn't even an issue. And I know you guys pretty well, so I believe that. But thank you both for tuning in. And we look forward to seeing you at our live tastings again soon. But a couple other comments. Sorry, I'm just looking for the pins here. One is about shelf life, and we anticipated that question. So should we consider canned wines ageable like bottles, or do we think of it as like canned craft beers? Is the jury still undecided on that?
So from everything that I've read and heard, no, you should not think of them as age-worthy bottles of wine. These are not meant to be aged. They are supposed to be consumed upon release. So actually the kind of the best technology has come out of Australia in this, and it's a company called VinSafe, and they're really recognized globally as the leader in this. And of course, the inside of the can is lined so the wine doesn't come in contact with the aluminum. So you're kind of safe there, and that's really important. The wine would slowly dissolve the aluminum and break it down, and you would then consume it, which we don't want. So the inside is lined, but your shelf life.
What kind of buzz does that give you?
I'm sorry?
What kind of buzz does that give you, that aluminum buzz?
Well, if consumed enough, you may die.
Well,
So
right.
I'm sure you'd have to consume like 1,000 cans to get the right amount. But anyway,
I mean, get buzzed however you can, Gabriel. But
shelf life, though, they're trying to get kind of a year or so on the shelf, and that's pretty much the average. So we're rotating product a lot, but we normally kind of bring in fresh stuff and sell it right away and then do our next order. So to your question, these are not meant to be aged. Go ahead and drink them right away. And I think Gabriel, yours has like a best by date on it, correct? So do look for that if you're wondering. Not all have it, but some may.
Yeah, the Rial does. And I think there's also lot numbers when you start looking at their bottled products, which may have some indication of it. But this has a very blatant, like, best before kind of date, or at least one that we can assume. The Sprezza doesn't. I don't know exactly how that might hold up differently. But I think for me, I would kind of treat it the same way as a lot of, like, that Coors Light you left it in the back of the fridge over, last summer. Just let that one go. So. But yeah, having seen this cans kind of come and go over the last few years, I will say that Binny's does recognize when they're kind of like, all right, it's now getting into like October. This was July stash. Like, let's make sure it gets gone. So we stay on top of it. Same way that we look at our beer codes.
Yep.
I should mention the rosé water does have a best by date on the bottom. This one in particular is labeled
45
July
minutes.
Well, that's the shelf life once it's open at most. But this is, the can I have is stamped for July 22nd, 2020. So it's not going to last that long in my house, obviously. But yeah, I think look for best by dates generally. And then the other question to address now, and folks, if you asked a question and we didn't get to it live, feel free to send us an email anytime at wine@vinnies.com. We'll try to get more of these and answer more of your questions live as we move forward with this program. But the other main question to address real quick maybe is there any kind of preservation once the can is open? That one came from Jeff Stedman.
Grab some cellophane, make sure you cover the top tightly, and then put it in a plastic lunch bag, and then put it in the fridge. I'm getting this straight from King of the Hill, so that's probably the safest.
I think if you can't consume a 250 milliliter can of wine or wine cocktail in a day, maybe stick to your Coke Zero, Jeff. I don't know.
Is it like that last beer of the night at a party that you just find like 13 half-drunk cans of beer, like canned wine around the house?
Yep, these are definitely meant to be consumed right after you open them. Not going to last too many hours open. I mean, nothing will happen to it, but not going to taste as fresh as when you first open the can.
Yeah, I think that's a big, it relates, beer I think will retain a bubble just a little bit longer, but once it gets warm and flat, it's warm and flat.
Yeah, I'd say, same as anything else, right? Beer or soda, just drink it.
Yep.
That's the general gist of these. I think, buy it, put it in your fridge, drink it within a couple weeks, and that's that. And cheers.
Did anyone touch on the shotgun quality of any of these? Is there a rating for this?
Mine's probably pretty high. It's the same can as a beer, so I feel like a lot of people will feel comfortable with it.
That's a tall order there. I don't know.
I'm not going to try it with either of these bubbles things. But you guys...
No, all good.
Groovy.
Gabriel, you can do whatever you want off camera later.
I got 3 more of each of these.
Anybody in the listening audience tried to shotgun a can of wine? I know there's at least one of you watching that has, but you'll remain nameless for the time being. Anyone else out there want to chime in? We do recommend you drink responsibly.
So we do have a few other virtual events coming up, right, Barb?
Yeah. Today, even if you guys want to stay tuned in or take a break and come back at 3:30 Central, we've got Veronique, winemaker at Chateau Fernel from Bordeaux. We're not participating live in that one, but they're good friends of ours. So we're going to tune in and drink their wines alongside them. Alicia, I think we're going to plan something fun for next week, maybe Wednesday or Thursday. And then you guys should tune in. It's our usual weekend at Binny's Hours, Friday at 5, Saturday at 1. We're going to do fun stuff like this. And we're glad to have Gabriel today making his first appearance. This was his celebrity launch. So I hope this is your big break, Gabe.
I hope so. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to going back to work on Monday. Yeah, I think if anything, I will say I was in Portland last fall and I was flying out of there and just, naturally kind of popping in and out of shops in the airport. I noticed that their canned wine scene is huge. Mm-hmm. They have really taken to this. I don't know if it's the outdoor culture or the fact that they maybe have stepped it up in their abilities to can. But I think overall, if a wine growing region is not opposed to putting it in a can, that prejudice is gone from them. I think we should all kind of follow suit in there. Like, whatever it is, if it's a Tetra Pak, if it's a box wine, if it's in a glass bottle, if it's in, whatever it might be, I think we should be more open to trying these things out. Everyone was scared of the screw cap.
Yep.
Totally agree.
Totally agreed.
On that note,
we're going to put a slide up real quick that shows all the products we featured today and their prices once the three of us disappear. But yeah, on that note, Alicia.
Cheers. Keep tasting.